Hey everyone, this is Rock from StageandSky.com, and we need to talk about Lizzo. Don't worry, I'm not gonna harp on, like what everyone else is harping on. I know that Aries Spears basically roasted her a little bit, and there's a back and forth between the two of them. I'm not going to harp too much on that. What I really want to talk about is the long-term ramifications of embracing all of this positivity, this body positivity. And the sad thing is, I didn't have the courage or the strength to come out and say what I really wanted to say when I first saw it. I think a lot of us Americans, a lot of us rational thinking human beings, we saw, all these movements pop up, but then we saw what was happening to people's careers when you spoke up about the truth, like when it comes to, oh, don't slut shame and oh, don't fat shame and all that. And because we're so afraid of being, shamed for shaming, we didn't say anything. Then you had the rise of Lizzo, and oh my God, it's kind of gotten out of control when it comes to her. And I don't want, again, I try my best to speak with love and compassion. It's not to, mock or to talk down on anyone. But basically there's a video that a new YouTuber that I've been following, her name is Shez, and she posted a video about it. And in the comment section, there was a woman who I guess is struggling with her weight. And she asked, oh, do men want us to not feel confident about ourselves? Do they want us to keep hating ourselves because we're fat? And I felt compassion for this person, like she even mentioned, she followed up with a comment saying, well, I had an ex-boyfriend who told me not to lose weight. Then she had her dad telling her to lose weight. So men need to stop talking about women's bodies. I've heard that before. Men have no place or no right to talk about women's bodies. Alright, so here's the deal when it comes to the whole men have no right to talk about women's bodies. And it's going to tie into the body positivity movement and the truth that I think a lot of people want to ignore. But it's sort of like when you go out to a car lot, if you're the person buying the car, it behooves the maker, the automaker, to present a vehicle that's appealing to the eye. Rock, you're really comparing women's bodies to vehicles? In this sense, yes. I don't want to say that, oh, you should roll out of bed and think to yourself, like your whole world revolves around a man. But if you do want to get married, if you do want to find someone, you have to attract them. In order to attract them, you have to be appealing to the eye. That's that. On the notion of don't talk about, men have no right to talk about women's bodies. We're the buyers. All right, so there's that. And then when it comes to her losing weight and how, oh, do you think that we're not supposed to have confidence, or are we supposed to hate ourselves just because we're fat? Again, I have a little bit of compassion there because for those who don't know, I used to weigh 378 pounds. I'm down to like 225, 230. I fluctuate. I do boxing, so I'm always building muscle mass and all that. But I used to be really, really fat. Let me answer that question first about do you want us to hate ourselves first? I don't think that you should hate yourself. I don't think that you shouldn't lack confidence. I think that you should have confidence in who you are, and you should not hate yourself. However, you should hate things about yourself that you want to change, right? Like, maybe hate's too strong of a word, but like if there's something that you want to improve on, or there's something that you're failing in or you're weak in, you should be thinking to yourself, looking at that weakness and say, I don't like that, I want to change it. That's basically how I would come across that. Maybe hate's too strong a word. I don't think anyone should. All right, you know what? I'm just going to be flat out honest here because I think everyone's different. The girl who posted a comment, that was a female. I am a man, so I'm going to talk about man's perspective. I'm not sure if other men are like this, but I'm just going to give you my perspective. When I was 378 pounds, I hated. I'm telling you straight up, I hated how fat I was. I hated it. And that, to me, I was able to basically convert that hate to a drive. I was able to convert it to a motivation and angst. A lot of people say, Rock, how are you able to lose all that weight? And because basically it was hitting the gym. I hit the gym for 4 years. I did cardio. Also, I portion controlled, meaning once upon a time I'm going to get into the gluttony. I'm going to talk about how I got up to 378 pounds. But basically, portion control is when you can still eat the same food. So I wasn't on some special diet. I just ate less. And when you take in less calories and you work out and you're burning that off at the gym, you're going to start to lose weight. And it's not overnight. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you it's not overnight. When people say, oh, it took you 4 years to lose weight. 4 years to go from 378 to 220, right? That's like your whole high school, the 4 years of high school, freshman all the way to senior. Like that time, when you say months or years where you're still overweight, like going from 378 to 312, you still look like you're 378. So it doesn't look like much is happening. You want to give up. The pizza was looking good. Everything, like you just want to go back to those old habits, but you just stick to that drive. Why? Because I had that hate. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I don't know, I thought, you disgust me. Talking about myself here, I looked at myself in the mirror like, you disgust me. Also, if I'm going to be super pragmatic here, I had hope. It wasn't just hate, but it was hope. When I talk about Rock, well, how did you lose weight? The hate and the anger drove me, but also I mean, beautiful women. That's why sometimes when people go, oh, Rock, it sounds like you're bashing women. It's like, you have no idea how much me and I think a great deal of men in this world value women. Like I think you're the most beautiful creation, beautiful of God's creations, right? And when I was 21 at the time, that's when I was like 378, around that time, and I started working out. I just had the thought in my mind, the most beautiful girl in the world, the most beautiful girl I can find. What would be attractive to her, right? And I told this girl, this commenter, because she said, well, a guy, my ex was telling me to not lose weight and her dad was telling her to lose weight. I said, stop focusing on, what one person or what this other, like basically I used the net metaphor, like a fishing net, right? So when I'm 378 pounds, it's like you're thinking to yourself, how many hot, attractive women, because that's what I'm attracted to, how many hot, attractive women are going to find 378-pound men hot? I'm not Biggie Smalls. I'm not Big Pun. I don't have the money or the charisma to make up for my, better stature or my physique. So, like, what is the net? What is the percentage of women out there who will be attracted to me at that weight? So, in order to increase that net, right, I got in shape. And that was a motivating factor. And what's sad is that I actually know a girl, a good friend of mine, like about 4 years ago, and she found out how I was able to lose so much weight. And she asked me for like a New Year's Eve resolution. She said, hey, Rock, can you help me lose weight? I'm like, yes, I would love to. However, I'm going to pull out my phone and record you saying, hey, it's okay for Rock to be on my ass, because sometimes you need that, right? Some people, they need someone outside saying, hey, we need to the gym. Oh, I don't feel like it. No, I don't want to hear that. Get your ass up. Let's go. And for me, if you ask me for my help and I'm going to be committed to you, I'm going to push you like that. So I had to get on my phone because Me Too and all that stuff was happening. So I'm like, hey, are you cool with me being on your ass? I'm going to be pushing you. She said, yes. All right. And it didn't work out. Like after a couple of months, she gave me attitude, and it got to the point where I didn't trust her. I really did think that she would report me and say, hey, Rock's fat shaming me. So I backed off, and sure enough, she's gotten much, much bigger, and that's kind of sad, and I say it's sad because if I'm going to, this might help someone. I really hope. I'm going to talk a little bit God, my mother's overweight. She didn't used to be overweight. When my mom came down to visit me back in February of right before COVID happened, she came down to Tampa, Florida. I wanted to take her to my spots, around the water, and it requires a lot of walking, and she couldn't do it because it was tough on her knees. And she's good. She's a sweetheart of a lady, and she didn't want to hide, or she didn't want to show her, oh, I'm tired and all of that, but I could see it. I could see the sadness in her. And as a son, as a black man caring about my black queen, that broke my heart to see her like that. Like it really did something to me. To see my mom, who used to be very fit and active. She was a volleyball player, but now she's gained so much weight because I won't say what she did. I'm not gonna throw her on her bus like that, but she is overweight, and she's 60. And that's understandable to a great extent. The reason why I'm mentioning my mom is because my friend, who I was supposed to help work out, but she basically reneged and she gave me a whole bunch of attitude. So she ended up getting bigger. She looks almost the same weight as my mom, and she's younger than me. I'm 36, right? This is a friend who I cared about. I still care about her. She's a good-natured human being, but she lacks that drive and motivation. And sure enough, she's continued to get weight and get bigger. And for me, because she's a grown woman, we've had these conversations where I try to talk to her about it for hours. We've been out in the parking lot just talking, and she would stress, hey, I'm a grown woman, I'm a grown adult, I can do whatever I want to do. And she's right. you know? And as a friend, it's like, do I still want to hang out with you? Because when I see you like this, it brings me down. You remind me of my mother. So when I saw the Lizzo stuff, the body positivity, the rise of Lizzo, and I see so many people embracing it, it part of me wants to believe that, okay, you actually mean what you say, and you believe what you say when you say, hey, you know what, I'm happy the way I am and no one can tell me what to do. Part of me wishes that you carry that same energy, not just in your 20s, not just in your 30s, but for the rest of your life. I'm seeing so many videos of women, and not just women, but men, you know, when they reach a certain age, diabetes kicks in, they have to lose limbs, you know, they're confined to a wheelchair, they're confined to a bed. Unless you're mentally prepared to accept all of that, not saying it will happen, but the chances are there. There's so much of a health risk, is what I'm saying. Like, are you prepared for that? Like, all these people who are boasting the body positivity and Lizzo and, you know, I can do whatever I want. There was a thing in Houston, I think it was. It was a pool party full of big people, you know, and I'm like, oh my God. If that's what they really, well, everyone's free to do what they want. I'm a Christian, right? So I deal with atheists and agnostics and non-believers all the time. I'm not going to shove my beliefs down their throats. But as Christians, we know that the world's ending and that Jesus Christ is going to come, and those who rejected him, they're going to be destroyed. So that you feel a sadness for the non-believers. And I think it's kind of the same way when I see the heavy-set, overweight people who are embracing being overweight. You know, like, there are people who are actively trying, you know, and if you put down in the comment section, I'll give you, you know what, I'll give you my story, okay? At this point, I'll give you my story of how I got to 378 pounds in the first place, right? Because very often people say, well, it's really great that you lost all the weight, and it is a great accomplishment. You know, it should tell you a lot about me when it comes to discipline and commitment. Also, it should tell you that, I mean, I shouldn't have never let myself get that big in the first place. I know people want to harp on, no, but, you know, self-love and all that. No, that was unacceptable. You know, I'm single. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I think that one of the consequences of me being single at my age, not having kids, is because I wasn't in good shape when I was in the best chance to find a mate, which was in college. And in college, I was 378 pounds. And I blew it because I had all those opportunities right there, but I wasn't attractive. And if I was, I guess I just sucked at picking up clues and not red flags, but, you know, signals and stuff like that. So at this point, I'll give you a journey of how I was able to get up to 378 pounds in the first place. Ever since I was a kid, I was always eating. Like, embarrassingly enough, like, since Fort Hood, Texas, so that's like when I was 10 years old, I would sneak down in the kitchen at night, grab an extra slice of pizza, take it up to my room, eat it at night, you know, like I wasn't supposed to, but I loved food. I loved it. The main thing that got me up 378 pounds, so by the time I was 18, I'll have some pictures up here so you can see the timeline here. By the time I was 18, I was 278 pounds. One of the things that precipitated that rise of, you know, getting up to 278 pounds was that my senior year in high school, I twisted my kneecap dancing. I used to pop and lock, I could still pop and lock pretty decently, but when you're 278 pounds, you gotta take it easy on your knees. You know, you can't be popping and lock like it's crazy. And back then there was that thing called Wade Robson Project. This is when You Got Served was popular, you know, and I used to dance really well, and I basically popped in and locked and I popped my knee out of place, which meant that I had to be in a cast for like a couple of weeks. You know, I couldn't participate in senior week activities. It was a bummer. But that inactivity while still eating all that food ballooned me up to 270 pounds. When I came down here in Tampa, this is 2005, that's when I graduated high school, you know, I was on my own for a long time. I had a credit card, and man, like every other night I was bringing home pizza for my roommates or KFC. I just indulged, man. And I'm in a new area, so I'm trying every pizza place. I loved it, you know, and every night, like I just wasn't eating healthy. I wasn't working out. I would go to school, come home, play video games, eat, rinse, repeat, you know. And then of course the crucible, you know, the catalyst to all of that was that same year. So this is around October of 2005. I needed a job. I was coming home from school. I just saw in the shopping complex Pizza Hut. All right, so this is not to bash Pizza Hut. So if they, strike this video or something like that. But basically, I applied for a job for Pizza Hut. I got the job like first day. As soon as I walked in there, I met the boss, and he's like, "Yeah, we're hiring drivers." I'm like, "I can drive." And sure enough, that began a year, like 3 years of, oh my gosh, those were some fun years. I was, street racer, Fast and Furious in my 99 Oldsmobile Alero, and this was Oldsmar. So think the Buccaneers players, think like upper middle class. That was my delivery area, and I loved it. I loved the night shift. I loved the night. I love listening to music. I felt like a secret agent every night where I was delivering, and every night I was the closer, and I hope I don't get in trouble for this, so they can go back and sue me. But basically every night I was taking home a pizza. Like sometimes it'd be a pan pizza, sometimes it'd be a thin crust pizza, but I would make it myself. So that baby's getting loaded up with a whole bunch of toppings. I would take home a 2-liter of Dr. Pepper, and I had no discipline. Like it was in front of me, it looked good, I would devour the whole thing. Guzzle it down with some Dr. Pepper and go to sleep. I did this for 3 years, so it makes sense why, from 275. I remember when I came home, one of the first time I came home during college, and one of this asshole of a girl I used to work with at KFC, that's another thing, I used to work at KFC, that helped me get up. But when I came home, she saw me and she's like, "Rock, you're supposed to grow this way, not this way." I hope I never see you again. I haven't, not since then, but basically that's what I was thinking. But that was, just a cycle of just eating, not just pizza, but also, like I wouldn't be hungry, but I would go to McDonald's. I would have a 10-piece chicken McNuggets plus a double quarter pounder meal, eat all that down. I have a whole bunch of wings, eat all that down. I would have wings, like 20 wings from Pizza Hut. And then go to Taco Bell, get some tacos, get the sour cream, and it was so bad. And I did this for, again, 3 years. It wasn't until, I want to say 2007, 2008, because when I was that big, it was kind of sad to say this, but I really didn't know how fat I was, right? I could still boogie up and down stairs like it was nothing, so I didn't realize it, and believe it or not, there was another girl who was attracted to me, she was kind of overweight herself. So I didn't pursue her, but it was nice to have that attention. But what happened was, one night I was going into my closet to get something out to wear, and when I was coming out, I got stuck in the closet. Like my shoulders and my girth matched the door frame. And when that happened, I had to basically just squeeze myself out, and I stepped back and look at the door frame. I'm like, I'm that big? So then I stepped on the scale for the first time since high school. Last time I stepped on the scale in high school, I was 278 pounds. I stepped on the scale again, 2007, 2008, 378. I could not believe it, because I was almost half impressed, because I was like, man, like I said, I was going to get up and down stairs like it was nothing. So it was by chance, and I give all credit and glory to God, because if it wasn't for Anytime Fitness, and Anytime Fitness being right across the street from the shopping complex where the pizza that I worked at was, I probably wouldn't have worked out. Why? Because when you step into a gym for the first time and you see all these beautiful, good-looking bodies everywhere, and you're looking like the abominable snowman, but black or white, but still I was black. It's just you feel out of place. You feel like you don't belong there. You do, but you don't feel like you belong there, and it's embarrassing. Like As someone who's been a gym rat since 2008, I can tell you that when I see big people, I'm like, awesome. Anything you need help with, I got you, bro. Yo, let me know anything. Keep coming. I love it. I want to give them that energy. But if you don't know what that's like or what other people are thinking, you really just feel like you're out of place. You feel like all these bastards in here look like models off a magazine. They're just showing off pieces. Like all of that, right? So Anytime Fitness, the cycle was finish work, I get off work around 1 o'clock, 1:30, and I would hit the gym at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd have the whole gym to myself. And that's what I needed. I needed the solitude. It's kind of a story of my life, but basically I work best when no one's around. Like, just tell me what I need to do and get out of my way, and I'll get it done, you know? And I basically did that for well over 3 years, where I would close, hit the gym, have the gym all to myself, and I started out light, right? I didn't go buck crazy, but you know, I learned about, okay, burn calories means something. I know there are some people who talk about, oh well, if you lift weights, you know, that'll help your metabolism too. But I'm like, okay, let me lose weight first, and then I'll focus on that. And the fastest way for me to lose weight was to focus on the cardio. I started at the bicycle first because I was too afraid of the treadmill. And I would do the bicycle for like 30 to 45 minutes, usually 45 minutes. But then somewhere along the lines, I can't remember what it was that prompted me to step on the treadmill, but I stepped on it for the first time. And it was like, I had no idea that you burn more calories on a treadmill than the bike. You know, I thought because you're pedaling so hard, you know, like you're burning more calories. But I think maybe it's because you're walking your weight on the treadmill, but you burn more calories. And I tried it, and it was so fun. It really changed my life. It was one of the best decisions of my life, and I just stuck with it. I had a mentality where I had a routine where when I put on headphones, I'm a writer, so I'm really good about my imagination. I know how to check out of this place and go to a different world and just stay there. And usually music is the trigger for me. If I have music and I'm doing something that's not disturbed, where it's just something constant, like walking on the treadmill at a speed of 4.8 at an incline of 6.5 does for me. And while listening to music, there's just constant. Also, now I have the Weather Channel, but when I was like 20, in my early 20s, I would watch any show that had a beautiful women. Like, so back then, Jersey Shore was popular, and I would watch that because those were hot women. And I'm like, one day, you know, and I would daydream of them, and I would daydream of the girls that were in my class, or any girl I had a crush on. I would put them in my daydream where I'm impressing them by performing in a boy band or a rock group, or I'm a warrior in a battlefield, you know, and I just daydreamed, and I would just stuck with it, right? So I did that for 4 years, you know. So around 20, that's when I first stepped on the treadmill. I got to 378. By the time I was 25, I knew my dream had come true because I had to go shopping for clothes. When I was 370 pounds, it was kind of rough because I remember going to those Walmarts and picking up the size 50 pants off the rack, and no one was around. I used to feel like a monster. When people say, oh, you gotta feel confident, I don't want to make this a men versus women thing, but when I didn't feel confident. I didn't think anyone cared about my confidence, or there was no body positivity movement. I don't think there is for men still. You know, when you talk about plus size models, it's not men, it's just women. Not to say it's not fair. No, everyone should be in shape and should be healthy is what I'm really driving at. But when I was 25, 26, I went to Dillard's and JCPenney's, and I had to get new clothes. And I remember looking at myself, and this was the picture. You know, this is 2012, so I was just turning 26. And I was like, wow, I could not believe it. And I just stuck with it, man. Like, I hated who I was, but now that I am where I am, you know, I'll never go back. You know, there are days where I'll miss the gym for like 2 days. By the third day, I'm like, this, I don't care if I have a cold, whatever, I'm eating in the gym, you know. And it's therapy for me. Like, the treadmill is therapy. The boxing, I do boxing 3 times a week. Well, 2 times. I might go back to 3. But it was 3 times. Anyways, I do boxing, and then I bought a rowing machine for my home. This is getting a little bit long, but I just really wanted to push this message out there. Anyone who needs to lose weight, you know, we shouldn't be encouraging people to live unhealthy lifestyles. You know, I think I'll just stop there, because I think if I keep talking, I'm gonna dig myself into a grave here. But let me know in the comment section what you think. Again, everyone's different. I know that. I encourage everyone to live their best lifestyles, and just, if anything, think for yourself. What makes you happy here and now? Like, it's not gonna last forever. You have to think long term. think 3 years, 5 years in the future. Like, what's your life going to be like if you continue to live this life that you're living? All right.